Hi, Year 10, Mr. Tapley here for your next lesson of Year 10 History. This lesson we've got some fun activities planned. We're not making you write another argument paragraph, no essays. Really looking forward to this lesson because we are looking at fake news. We are developing our understanding of propaganda, so the historical use of propaganda and its modern evolution, modern examples in our society today. So defining propaganda, identifying examples, and outlining the impact of propaganda on people. So, propaganda is the deliberate and planned effort to manipulate other people's beliefs, attitudes, or actions through the use of symbols, speech, and media. So that's your basic definition of propaganda. It's not necessarily negative. It's not necessarily positive. You can have propaganda for McDonald's, for advertising. You can use it in politics. Military leaders have used it in the past. It doesn't have to be positive or negative. It doesn't have to be explicitly a lie. You could just be manipulating the truth. But the basic definition is you're using symbols, speech, media to manipulate. So you're trying to get people to believe what you want to believe or to do what you want to do. Now, the authors of propaganda have a very specific goal, a set of goals, and to achieve these goals, they use a number of different techniques to persuade you, to trick you. These people deliberately select facts, arguments, and examples that only support their perspective, their point of view. So they're going to be excluding or diminishing information that may challenge their goals. So they're telling you half of the story. So you might agree with what they're saying, but behind the curtain is a whole other side of the argument that you're not seeing. Now, to maximize the impact of these tools, people will create propaganda that is targeted to their specific audience. I'm also running the Year 9 Small Business Elective this year, and I've been talking to my Year 9s about how important it is for a business to understand their target audience. And it's kind of like propaganda as well. You're playing to your customers. If you want them to believe what you want them to believe, you have to speak their language. So you learn your audience, you learn the people that you're trying to persuade, their fears or their desires, and you play off that. You distract people from other issues, so get them to look at your right hand while you're doing dodgy other things with your left hand. You present false information, or you can present biased opinions as facts. And what that is misinformation, when you are telling them something that is wrong, basically lying to them, and disinformation, when you are presenting deceptful and biased opinions that don't tell the whole story. So you can either lie to people, you can persuade people by telling them half of a truth, and all of those things can be used throughout history, and they have been used throughout history, dating back to ancient history, to persuade people and to convince them to do things that they might not otherwise do if you were telling them the whole truth. So that's a quick little video there, that first one. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, that explains how misinformation, how propaganda has been used throughout history into modern times. Because that's from, 2020, that video. So very modern. Cool. This is just a couple of examples, of propaganda, some posters throughout history. So moving from the left, we've got, that's a very famous one of Uncle Sam, a figure in American history, American folklore. You've got one persuading them to join the army. You've got one from our Year 10 history unit last year, which is playing off Imperial Japan in World War II invading Australia. You've got some anti-German, anti-Nazi ones from World War I, World War II. That's one written by none other than Dr. Seuss. It was making fun of the policy of appeasement. You've got, it's hard to see, but there's a swastika on that train, and it's like the Nazi Germans coming straight towards America, and that thing right there says appeasement junction. So don't worry if we appease them, if we give them what they want. They're not going to run us over. Spoilers. So you've got a few different examples there. You can see it's being used for military, political. There's one from Hitler. There's one for women's rights, for workers' rights in World War II. You can even see it being used in business and advertising companies. There's one for Coca-Cola. There's also some dodgy ones where like smoking companies, like in the 1940s and 50s, were trying to market to children. That's a type of propaganda, some dodgy business practices. Now, What we're looking at this lesson, though, is we're focusing on modern propaganda, or fake news, as you've probably heard mentioned in the media. So in our modern society, propaganda has evolved with the development of advanced technologies. Internet, social media, video streaming. There's even technology, which is discussed in this video down here, called deepfakes, where basically artificial intelligence, these computer programs, can create almost identical replicas of people and have them say or do things that they weren't actually doing at the time. It's crazy, scary technology. But basically, fake news, this modern propaganda, refers to deceptive or false content designed to mislead viewers for economic, political, or social incentives. So very similar to historical propaganda. Now, these modern examples of propaganda may lack context. Again, you're telling them half a story. They may lack verifiable sources, so it's being told to you by some random off the street you can't really trust. You might be excluding different views, or you might deliberately be using inflammatory language to get a response out of people. So this isn't actually what was said, but I'm going to pretend this was said, so you feel a bit more upset about it, more angry, and you do what I want. In political crises, around the world, dictators have created automated bots. So on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, creating fake accounts to give the illusion that a lot of people support you or to support your actions or share messages on social media, organize violent rallies or protests, and spread misinformation to influence public opinion. So these ideas of power and control, how do we get away with murder? How do we get away with genocide? It's all about power and control. And that's what modern propaganda and historical propaganda are about controlling the people's opinions and having the power to do so by controlling the media, controlling culture, if you will. So a couple of videos on this slide. This one here, again, 3 minutes, tells you about how fake news can spread so very, very quickly in the modern age. So this rise of social media, the rise of the internet, how do people get away with just blatantly lying and spreading these false truths? This second video, though, that one there, the deepfakes one, is my absolute favorite. So it's 5 minutes 50. You have to watch it because it's absolutely brilliant. The ending is very entertaining / concerning, and it connects to our lesson activities today. So it goes through this idea of deepfake technology. It gives a couple of amusing examples. I don't want to play the video, but you can see, of course, we're going to make fun of Trump. Kim Kardashian gets slammed as well. You've got Morgan Freeman. There's a good one of Mark Zuckerberg in here somewhere. Spoilers. Oh, you'll find it later. But I'm not recommending, I'm ordering you to watch that video there about deepfake technology. Again, it's a modern example of historical propaganda that Hitler used to control and to terrorize the population during Nazi Germany era. There we go. A few more modern examples here. So you've got one that was very appropriate. Again, propaganda doesn't have to be a positive or a negative thing. You can use it outside of politics. You can use it for public health. So getting people to get on board with the coronavirus response. You can have companies that are using it to sell their products and pretend that they're really giving a crap about social issues. So that's Oreo, who put together like an ad campaign around LGBT rights. So they had this big ad campaign, the rainbow-colored Oreos, blah, 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 blah. And people will think, oh, that's like social justice. It's super cool. But really all they're doing is propaganda. They're persuading you to buy Oreos. So using it for business incentives. There's another advertising one. That one's hard to read there. That's propaganda and fake news about the flat earth conspiracy. So I'm not going to let you into my geography class if you believe in that. We've got some on me mate or Trumpy. Again, it doesn't have to be negative. You can have a positive message in your propaganda. So that's Barack Obama, US president, the campaign that he ran for his first presidential election. So the posters he put out there. One about Australia and one for the environment. So different modern examples there. I've also included this little graphic here, which shows you the different types of modern propaganda. So different types of fake news you'll find. So there's parody content, there's misleading content. So you can have a read of that there. I just thought it was a useful graphic to have. Now, what we're doing today, and again, I'm super excited about this. Well, I was going to move my head, but I kind of like that I'm just overdropped there. Okay, then. Lesson activity, interactive history. This lesson, we will be focusing on examples of modern propaganda and fake news. Next couple lessons, we'll be focusing on Nazi Germany, but I thought it was important to, connect what we're doing in history to what's happening now, modern history. So what you're going to do is use this link to access a little interactive game that is actually mentioned in one of those videos on the slides previously. So it's called Bad News, and this digital tool places you in the position of power. It gives you the power to create disinformation. So it allows you to gain insight into the tactics and techniques used in modern propaganda. Now, the game offers several choices and different scenarios. You select a choice, and then you view how it influences your followers and your credibility. So it gives you two, rankings, two scores. What I want you to do is to play the game. We're doing video games in class. I love it. Record your final score for both categories, so followers and credibility, in your notebook, physical or digital. And then I just want you to record down 2 or 3 observations. So 2 or 3 reflections about the techniques that are being used in this game and in modern society to manipulate public opinion, attitudes, and actions in modern propaganda. So I'll show you what that looks like. If you click on that link there, it takes you to Bad News. So you can click on that. All you have to do is press play. And it gives you 2 options basically for each of these scenarios or prompts. So if I click on, hey, that's right. I'm super frustrated, remote learning, lame. Does that sound like something I'm going to say? Sure, why not? So that's given me followers and it's impacted my credibility. So people don't believe me, but I've got some support. So basically you keep going through these different scenarios. Like if I go, let's keep going. I'm ready. Let's fake an official Twitter account. Why not? No, I don't want to be the president, even though I'm American. Meteorite alert. Yeah, let's do that one. Boom. Let's see how that works. Oh, that's a lot of followers there. So you just have to go through the game and then, again, record your final score in your notebook, answer a couple of reflections, and yeah, hopefully that's a more engaging activity than writing up another argument paragraph. Any questions or concerns about this, please let me know. Very interested to see what your high scores are. I think I'll have to have a play and see if you can beat my score. Hope you guys are well. Hope you're surviving and thriving in remote learning. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys this week. Cheers.